Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, and welcome to another entry of Wolfula News, where I talk about the latest shit happening in the world of horror. In this vid, I thought I'd give my thoughts on the upcoming Halloween sequel, whose title has officially been announced as Halloween Kills and is planned for release on October 16th, 2020. Halloween Kills' sequel itself has also been announced to be called Halloween Ends, releasing in 2021. Not the best titles, but it's better than them being called Halloween 2 and 3 like we all feared, and I guess Halloween 2018 was pretty damn successful to have 2 sequels greenlit. It's also nice to know that an overarching story between these films has potentially been planned out, unlike the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Jamie Lee Curtis is clearly in talks with Blumhouse, and apparently David Gordon Green, the director/co-writer of the previous film, has written the sequel's script already, and will supposedly also return to direct. This is all very good news if you enjoyed 2018's Halloween, but some folks seem to really dislike it. I think they're a vocal minority, though. I personally enjoyed the film despite some flaws, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming sequel. Question is, what will the sequel be like? Well, I managed to get my hands on a leaked script of the sequel. No, I'm just kidding. Sequel's still like more than a year away, so not too bad of a wait at all. I was afraid it was going to take a lot longer to get a sequel off the ground. We still gotta wait though, but in the meantime, it's fun to sort of guess at what the sequel will have based on what was set up in the last movie. So here's my list of Halloween Kills predictions. Now, this should go without saying, but this vid will have spoilers for Halloween 2018. If you haven't seen that movie yet and don't want to be spoiled, watch the movie first. Holy fuck, it came out a while ago. Jesus. Prediction number 1. Laurie will die again. Laurie has died a couple of times in the franchise's history, but they weren't great deaths. Off-camera car crash in 4, and in an unrelated opening in Resurrection because Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to commit to a full sequel. Not great at all. This new Halloween sequel could potentially finally give the character a proper send-off for good that hopefully doesn't happen right away, while simultaneously setting up the series to come without Jamie Lee Curtis's involvement. Of course, killing Laurie was supposed to happen last time, and it didn't, and it'd be predictable for her to die in the next film, so maybe Laurie will live again, and perhaps her daughter Karen dies instead, and we see how that impacts the storyline. The teaser that announced the titles of the sequels called this the saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, so it seems like Laurie may stick around going into Halloween Ends. Prediction number 2. Laurie will train Alison to be a survivor. Now, this was a point of contention amongst the Strodes in the previous film, but seeing as Michael did return after all, and Laurie will potentially spend more time with her granddaughter, Laurie will want to train Alison to survive just in case. Unlike with Karen, it'll probably be training by choice because Alison went through the same thing Laurie did, but lost her dad too. We might also see some more flashbacks of Karen's childhood training, and also Ray raising Alison to give the father's death some sad weight. I mean, they left Ray's body in a burning building. Come on, give him a moment. Prediction number 3. It will be unclear if Michael is really dead. The sequel might figure out a reasonable way for Michael to escape a burning basement, but otherwise, the film will probably make it ambiguous as to how Michael could survive, his body never being found in the wreckage, leaving it up to your imagination whether Michael truly is supernatural or a copycat has taken his place. If it is a copycat Michael, it just hopefully wouldn't be revealed, so for all intents and purposes, it's still Michael. Of course, the flaw in a copycat theory would be that the hands of the shape would be a dead giveaway, especially since Michael would be missing fingers. Whatever, point is, we probably won't know how Michael survived the Strode house fire. He survived a hospital fire in 2 without much explanation, so that'll probably continue. Prediction number 4. Aaron survived the last film. The flaw with this theory is that, well, the novelization states that Aaron the podcaster died. This can easily be retconned, though. Aaron wasn't totally chopped up to oblivion, his head was just really fucked up, so maybe he succumbed and died briefly, but managed to get resuscitated in time. I feel like killing off both of those podcasters was a missed opportunity for development, so I'd like to see how this character came back and see how the experience changed his worldview, possibly developing the obsession with Michael Myers that tends to happen when people encounter the guy. Prediction number 5. Michael inspires a legacy of evil. You know, people in the real world are fans of slasher villains, but there are also people who love real-life serial killers. It would be interesting to explore the admiration that certain sick individuals have over non-fictional murderers. I mean, people love fictional slashers and real killers. Imagine if Michael Myers was real and the kind of horrifying following he could have. I feel like it'd be interesting to set up deranged people being inspired by Michael. Michael is scary, but imagine if there were more of him. Like, there's just one of these unstoppable boogeymen, and he seems to really just be into the fictional Haddonfield. But think if it didn't matter where you go, there could be somebody like Michael anywhere. We see all these fuckers dressing up as Michael Myers, but they're always harmless. What if they're not for a change? Prediction number 6. Alison's boyfriend returns and finally dies. Cameron was one of those explicit things saved for the sequel. You know, it's nice to set things up for a sequel, but the way it was handled felt forced. Where Cameron cheats on Alison and throws her phone in some pudding while cross-dressing, it didn't leave a good impression. The cheating plot was handled a lot better in Halloween 4, I gotta say. So, of course, an aspect of Kills' plot may be Cameron trying to win Alison back, redeeming himself, and possibly sacrificing his own life. Or maybe he just continues being a dick and gets killed. Prediction number 7. We meet Laurie's ex-husband. Laurie had a couple of failed marriages, but one of them produced Karen. The dad was not in the picture, which is typical for Halloween movies, but I think it might be time to show who Laurie fucked for a change. Karen's father could be anyone, but I'm hoping that it's Ben Tramer, who was the guy Laurie had a crush on in the first film, who got run over accidentally in Halloween 2 while dressed in a similar outfit to Michael for some reason. Halloween 2 is now a separate continuity, so Ben Tramer is potentially alive and well. Might as well make him Laurie's ex-husband. Ben Tramer has such a huge cult following over his Halloween 2 appearance. I think it would be very amusing if it turned out Ben Tramer was a total scumbag and dressed as Michael Myers deliberately to fuck with Laurie, and ended up ironically getting run over by the police in the new timeline too. It would be such a grand homage. Prediction number 8. The Myers house will play a prominent role. The Myers house was never shown in Halloween 2018, which is weird because you'd think the podcasters would want to visit it, but I think it was a deliberate choice to save the house for a sequel. The house could just appear briefly, but part of me thinks it'll be where the climax of either Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends takes place. Ends makes the most sense. Since the house was where the series began, it should be where it also ends. It would also be really cool if the actual original Myers house was used for a sequel. Unfortunately, the original Myers house was only used again in Halloween 2. Nice to see it make a comeback. Prediction number 9. Halloween Kills takes place 1 year later. I think the next film will take place in 2019 because I don't think they'd want to advance Michael's age any more than they have to. Hopefully the movie doesn't take place immediately after the previous film, and hopefully it doesn't make a massive time jump. Prediction number 10. The Strobes will leave Haddonfield. Now, assuming only 1 year has passed, that's enough time where it'd be believable that the Strobes would still be in Haddonfield after all this shit, but they're in the process of moving. I think a change of setting might be welcome for Halloween Kills, and then bringing things back to Haddonfield and Halloween Ends, but staying in Haddonfield for good does give an opportunity to develop the town and its characters. Prediction number 11. Characters from past films will cameo. If Halloween Kills opens with, say, a funeral scene, there's an opportunity there to bring back certain characters briefly for the sake of a sense of continuity without forcing them into the narrative. My hope is that we'll get to revisit Sheriff Brackett retired while Charles Cyphers is still alive to do a cameo. Also, it'd be nice to revisit Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace as adults, as well as a living Nurse Chambers again. I can't imagine Julian fitting in anywhere else but a cameo at his nanny's funeral, but he could possibly play a larger role. I guess we'll see. Prediction number 12. Sartain's backstory is explored. Sartain, the villainous Dr. Loomis, died before we got to know much about him, but I figure there has to be some kind of fallout upon the discovery of a doctor being complicit with his patient, so we might get to know a bit more about how Sartain functioned in Smith's Grove, his relationship with Michael, and how Dr. Loomis fit into all of this. If Aaron does survive, there could be an investigation/expose aspect to the story. Marion Chambers returning could also help help fill in the blanks. Prediction number 13, revelations about Michael's surface. Part of me thinks that there will be some big reveals regarding Michael's backstory that hopefully don't alter his character, but instead just add interesting twists to the story. One thing that I think could be revealed that would also retroactively fix a weak aspect of Halloween 2018 is that it will turn out that Michael constantly escapes Smith's Grove Sanitarium undetected. Michael only wanted it to appear as though he was locked up for 40 years, but he actually got out every Halloween, did his thing, and returned to his cell. Nobody would suspect or expect him, and he could continue to kill. His original escape may have just been him creating a legend out of himself as a boogeyman. Michael's transfer to Glass Hill just changed everything and forced him to return to being the boogeyman. This reveal would definitely shatter Laurie upon realizing that Michael had no interest in pursuing her again after all of her years of preparation. So, there are all of my predictions for the upcoming Halloween kills. It's still a ways off, but I figured I might as well do this before we get more details. Part of me hopes all of these predictions are wrong, that the films are totally surprising in a good way. What are your predictions? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, and if you liked this video, like it, but if you loved it, subscribe to my channel and make sure to click the bell icon to keep track of future uploads and streams. Also, be sure to follow me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Wolfula. Finally, if you can, support me by pledging to my Patreon, patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula, where you can get previews, exclusive streams, and other goodies. I'd like to thank these kind platinum supporters of my Patreon for their help. The channel would be nothing without their support, and it's greatly appreciated. Thanks again. I've been your host, Dr. Wolfula, signing out. See you all next time.